Please mark your attendance. Okay, as you already know, we have completed module 3 completely in the previous class. Okay, so if you are having any doubts, you can ask me now, or you can go back to the recordings. Those are already being uploaded. You can go there, you can check. Still, if you are having any doubts, you can put those doubts in the WhatsApp group. So I'll be like, if it is possible, I'll reply over there, or we'll be taking that matter in the next class. Okay, because sometimes it may not be viable to answer your questions effectively over WhatsApp. So it will be dealt in the next class. So coming to today's class, so you already know fourth module we are starting today. That is supply chain network optimization model. Okay. So again going through the syllabus. So supply chain optimization model, impact of uncertainty on network design, network design decisions using decision trees, planning demand, multiple item, multiple location, inventory management, pricing and revenue management. This particular module is fairly short. Okay, so we'll be able to complete in mostly around next week. We'll be able to complete this particular model. So I'll try to include more of examples if possible. Okay, so because this is going into deep into the network, okay, of a particular supply chain. So here we are looking at the uncertainty part. What is uncertainty? The things that we not know. For example, we give or we say usually, so tomorrow is uncertain. What do you mean by that? Okay, you will be knowing, you will be having some set of works to do or do to list tomorrow. Okay, or some you are waiting for a certain thing to happen and that will be happening tomorrow, but you know it that will happen or that is supposed to happen, but still we are uncertain about the tomorrow. So just for an example, so similarly the same thing is applicable in our supply chain also. So we can predict, we can forecast. Okay, so these predictions or forecasts are based on the previous data. It could be like last year's data, last month's data, last quarter's data, or it could be data from last 5 years or 10 years also. So based on that, we are extrapolating or we are increasing the what you call it, the graph of whatever we have got with the help of the data that we already have. So we are extrapolating it and getting the future, uh, or like for example, sales or future demand, okay, or the future requirement. So such kind of things we are basically predicting. So again, we can say it is uncertain because the situations which were there earlier may not be relevant in the coming future. Like if you take last 5 years data, like if you exclude the last 2 years, that is 2020 and 2021, so it was completely different. And if you include 2019, 20 and 21, the end of 19, 20 and 21, if we see, so it is completely different because of the present COVID condition. So who had thought that okay there would be a lockdown, okay, initially, then we thought that okay everything is normalizing and we were like moving back to our normal life as usual like before COVID. But what happened? There was a second wave again. There was spike. Okay, again we never expected there would be a second lockdown, but we had a second lockdown. Right. So we are presently going on to the second lockdown. So this will be having an effect over of basically the supply, the demand, and you might have heard that many small companies were not able to bear the losses. They shut down. Okay, so many companies have shut down, smaller and medium scale companies, because when a longer period when they are not working or not generating any revenue, so it is very difficult because there it is not like cash and carry. They'll be having a cycle basically. So if they buy some raw material, it is very few times it is like, or very few items it is like cash and carry. Otherwise, there will be a credit cycle given to them. So similarly, when they sell the product to the distributors and other people in the supply chain, again there will be a credit cycle which will be given to the distributor or the stockist. So from them, yes, one more credit cycle will be there given to the retailers. But for the person who is buying, the customer, so it is like cash and carry. Usually that is the thing that happens, or cash on delivery basically. What is the term now? Because we are getting the products directly to our home. So it is like cash and carry or cash and deliver. So all these things are there. Okay, or delivery, cash on delivery or something. This kind of things are there. Okay, but for them there is a credit cycle. So what happens? Similarly, based on the credit cycle, they will be getting the money back. Okay, whatever they need to be getting, plus whatever the new items they will be selling or they will be getting, that amount they need to be paid or they will be getting it. So these things happen when suddenly there is a halt of 2 to 3 months. That particular cycle has a large what do you call disturbance. Okay, so suddenly you might get a particular month some money. So there is a rotation, we call in business a rotation basically, a rotation of money. Okay, so the students who are having businesses, they'll be knowing there is kind of a rotation, turnover, and all these kinds of things are there. So what is rotation? So suddenly, like this month's amount, I'll be getting in the next month. Next month's amount, I'll be getting in the subsequent month. So what is happening now? So if you are not working, or if you are not selling a certain good, or if you are not producing a certain good for a period of time, like 2 months or 3 months, this particular cycle has an impact. So whatever has to come will come now, and you will not be having any amount that will be due. Okay, in the subsequent months coming. So similarly, uh, when people or the companies were who were not able to cope up with this particular cycle, break in this particular cycle, it is very difficult. The companies who have started recently, or the startups who have come up recently in around 2019 or after the first lockdown, so nobody predicted that there could be a second lockdown. Okay, so you never know. In many of the countries, they are even getting third wave and all. But it is said that okay, the second wave is the most dangerous one and the most biggest one, and the third wave will not be crossing the second wave. So this is what is the present trend going on. Again, we are basically forecasting based on the data from different countries who have already finished their third wave or fourth wave. Okay, so it is said that second wave is the most dangerous one and has major casualties. So, but this is what is prediction again based on the data that we have. But again, this is uncertain. Okay, the virus is mutating. We are getting new and powerful viruses which are even trying to like be alive or infect more at a faster rate. So different things are there. Okay, so even we don't know or we cannot predict exactly this will happen, but there could be some prediction which may say okay, this could happen. So will happen and could happen, there is a difference. So that is what we are calling it as uncertainty. So we don't know whether this will surely happen or not, but we may have some idea. Okay, so this is what is uncertainty. Now coming to the impact of uncertainty on network design. What happens? Supply chain design decisions such as the number and size of the plants to build. Okay, like if you're coming up with new plants, so how many plants you need to have? So how big it should have? How big in a sense in terms of production units. So whether I need to have a plant which is producing 500 quantity per day or 500 quantity per week or 500 quantity per month. So this is completely changing here. So per day 500 to per week 500 or per month 500 is completely different. The size is reducing or increasing drastically based on whether you are moving upward or downward. Okay, so this is a kind of situation where you can predict or you could have predicted that okay, the sales of my product will be like increasing in this particular fashion. Okay, so I need to be prepared. So it's not like you can start a factory or a organization just in one day or a month or so. So it needs a lot of effort and lot of time. Okay, the machinery has to be ordered. When you order a machinery, if it is readily available, yes, good, you'll get it. But still, the transportation time and the time for that particular whole thing to happen, what we call it as lead time. So that time at least is required. So if you're importing the machine, yes, again the lead time increases. Similarly, to set up a particular whole factory, it might go from somewhere around 6 months to 1.5 to 2 years. Okay, so based on what kind of product you are making, how big is this particular factory, how many machines are required, how many labor are required over there. So everything to take care, okay, you need so much of time. So suddenly you cannot say that okay, tomorrow I'll open a plant. Okay, but there will be a lot of planning which goes behind this particular saying. So you might have heard big people like big industrialists like Ratan Tata or Adani or Birla or Reliance. Okay, Mukesh Ambani and all. You might say, see that okay, we are coming up with this particular model. We are coming up with factory here. We are planning to increase or to have a new facility in some other place. So when they come and announce, okay, the work starts. Okay, the work starts in the sense the background will be ready. In the sense, planning will be ready of how big it is, what I am going to produce over there. Okay, how long is it going to take to establish and all. So this the information that is given to the people, it will be somewhere in the middle. Okay, the planning and everything would be done, or even the work might also have been started over there, but it would not have been told to you. But still, from that point to the completion, a lot of things or a lot of time is required, plus lot of changes in the plans happen because of again uncertainty. Okay, so if you see, uh, smart city projects were going on all over the city. Okay, not only Belgaum, it's in many places which were identified. Okay, smart city. Suddenly there was COVID, and the bridges, the what you call gutters and all, which were about to make, and even the roads. So everything stopped. So who had anticipated that this is going to happen and everything will be stopped? So similarly, uncertainty is a factor which is always present, and you need to be ready for it. Okay, so you can't expect how big will be the uncertainty. It could be very small, like in terms of your budget. If you say like 5 lakhs or 8 lakhs is required, so take a figure 8 lakhs. So there could be some variation. You will be ready for some 20% and 30%. But suddenly, if it increases to 100%, what happens? So you will not be prepared for it, but you will be what you call ready enough, or you will be knowing inside that okay, there will be some uncertainties which couldn't be predicted even after a lot of experience. So nobody predicted that the COVID is going to come. They could be predicting so many different things, but the COVID and the effect of COVID may not be like taken into consideration. So similarly, the size and scope of the distribution system. So how big the distribution should be there? What are the scope? Like we just like in the previous third model we saw, like what all different kinds of distribution systems are available. So which one are you going to adopt? So are you going to have a third party? Okay, or are you yourself going to distribute? Okay, so it's your supply chain or your distribution system versus the third party distribution system which is there for hire. So you can hire those particular people. So for the term, they'll be taking the products based on the MOUs or based on the understanding what you have. So they'll pick items and they'll drop it in the different places. Okay, so that happens. Then over the life of a supply chain network, a company experiences fluctuations in demand, prices, exchange rates, and competitive environment. So in terms of demand, a particular year the sales goes like rocket. In a particular year, it suddenly falls. Okay, we never know. Suddenly, this could happen in subsequent years. Like this year, the sales have gone to a new height. Okay, I have never seen such particular demand in the market. But next year suddenly, because you think that it increases in the same line, so you might be prepared to produce in a larger scale. So in the next year, so suddenly the demand falls. So it could be various reasons. There could be a new entrant into the market, or there could be a substitute product, or your competitor might come up with a strategy where he is reducing the prices a lot. Okay, like best example for this is the Reliance. Okay, or the Geo, Reliance Geo, which came into the market. Initially, people were reluctant. So, okay, what is there? How come he's giving? There could be something which could be hidden or something. We need to pay a lot at the end, something like that. But what he did to capture the market, he gave free of cost where you could call internet. messages, everything was free. Initially we told for 2 months, 3 months, then it became 6 months, then 8 months, then 12 months. So basically in that particular period, who were the first beginners who bought the initial one, so those people used it for 1.5 year continuously. But subsequently, people who saw them and who started buying, so they started using it for a lesser period of time. In this sense, they couldn't use it for the total free time which was given to them. But after that, he started charging you. So before that, if you see, major contribution or major telecom people, their customers, they switched to Geo. So still, yes, many people are going back, but and even there are other people who are coming back to Geo again from other networks. So both things are happening. But as a strategy that he entered, the other people, the other service providers in the market, okay, like Idea, Docomo, or Vodafone. So these people were not ready that a person will come like this and he will have a clean sweep in the market, okay, and capture our market share basically. So what happened? So Docomo was taken over by Airtel again, and there is a collaboration now. That is Vodafone Idea, and the biggest operator to Geo is Airtel as of now. So major people, if you want to see, so it is Geo or Airtel. So only these two people are there. Others, due to the changes, okay. So if they were able to cope up, they are there in the market doing various things like collaborations, and there were many people who sold their particular service network and they just went off, like Docomo. So it got merged with Airtel. Okay, so those who were using Docomo will be getting the service of Airtel. If you see it, if you have not changed this SIM also, so you are getting, even if the SIM says Docomo on it, written on it, but the service that you are getting is of Airtel. So similarly, Vodafone Idea they merged, okay, and there is one more new company, Vodafone Idea. So these are the changes that will be happening due to uncertain market. Okay, then demand prices. Okay, again Geo suddenly came down. So due to which the prices came down drastically. Like if you remember, you used to pay for 1 GB for whole month. You used to pay around 200 or 300 rupees. Now you are paying 200, 300 for more than 1 GB per day. Okay, so it could be 1.5 GB or 2 GB per day. So earlier it was per month. Now it is per day. So because one person came and reduced the price like anything, all others have to do it. Otherwise, we will move out of the market. Thus, people will switch from their network to this particular network. Then exchange rates. Exchange rates. We are talking about the currency. So if you are having uh, presence in multiple countries, you will be getting the amount in multiple currencies. So you need to exchange them. So here the current exchange rates have a lot of variation. Okay, you already know. So like dollar, take majorly most of the transactions happen in dollar. So the dollar fluctuates. So it might be around 73 to 74 rupees as of now. It had gone to 76, 78. It has come down. So this variation. So based on, like for example, you are based from India, you are giving certain products, you are selling certain products to some other country. Take USA only. Okay, based on the present valuation, if you directly take, okay, so if the product price is around 200 rupees, okay, including the export and other stuff, it comes to around 300 rupees per product. So if you convert it into 300, if you convert it into dollars, okay, 7 3s are 21, 7 4s are 28. Okay, take around 70 rupees for calculation. So around $4 if you keep now, based on the current exchange rate, and suddenly it increases. Okay, increases in the sense it becomes wider. Okay, at that time what happens? Your calculation, whatever you have done, is now changing. So for this there should be some additional amount that has to be kept. So I don't know whether it increases or decreases. We cannot predict. So based on the economy, based on the uh, power of a particular currency, so these fluctuations happen. Okay, so in the previous class, I gave you example of Venezuela. Those who are present, you could remember. So suddenly, when you start printing money, the value of that particular currency goes down like anything. So similarly, it happens here that the fluctuations in the buying power of that particular currency varies. Okay, so this is there. Then competitive environment. So, like in case of Jio, who knew that suddenly there is a person like money who is entering into the market, okay, and having such a major change in the market? We never knew. So it was a big blow for the competitors. So we never know how the competitive environment will change. Okay, then a decision that looks very good under the current environment may not be quite, may be quite poor if the situation changes. Okay, so before Jio entering into the market, if you see the growth graph of all the companies would be upward. Okay, so when suddenly Jio came, so before this, if you check, so if they were ready or they were planning for the next year, so they would have said that okay, our number of subscribers or number of people who use my service could be increased by this many percent. Okay, it could be 2%, 3%, or it could be as big as 10, 12%. We never know. Okay, so if they had planned for that and suddenly Jio comes in and takes over the market, so now the graph is dipping suddenly. But you have already planned, right? You have already given the orders for the SIM cards to be done. You are talking to the government about the increase in bandwidth. Okay, so if required, so all these things you are doing, but you were uncertain. So you thought that everything will go fine, and I am going to increase my subscribers rate at this particular present condition only. But the condition changed, and suddenly there was a huge pile of sims that was there with you, that were there with you, but you never know what to do. The only thing is the life of particular sim is very long, so you can keep it for 2 to 3 years and use it again. So not an issue. Okay, so but only thing is they should pay within that particular credit cycle, right? If it is 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever. Okay, you need to pay. You need to have money. On one side, you are losing your customers. Your profit is getting lower and lower, and you need to pay a lot of money to the all the people. Okay, so whom have supplied you their products, right? It's a blow from both these direction. Okay, so that is what we are saying, that presently the condition may look good or bad, so it will not remain the same, it will change. So from it could be very good to good, or it may become bad, or from bad to it may go to good, or it may go to very good, we never know. So uncertainty of demand and price drives the value of building flexible production capacity at a plant. So again, we have seen different kinds of facilities. So whether to build a flexible facility or to have a facility which caters, which is very rigid. Okay, like many of the pharmaceutical companies, based on the usage of the drug. Okay, so it is generally said that okay, when the population is increasing, is you need more and more drugs. In the sense, I'm talking about medicines. Drugs in the sense, not the contraband. I'm talking about the medicines. So as people are increasing, more and more diseases will be there, and more medicines are required. So earlier, before like around 90s or 2000s, if the manufacturing companies for pharmaceutical products, they were very rigid. They were manufacturing only one kind of product. Okay, but later on, what happened? So different diseases were there, and many of the drugs or the medicines were started getting banned because new things were discovered about the usage, okay, the side effects of the usage and all. So if you are very rigid, it is very difficult. Okay, suddenly the demand decreases. Okay, so you need to revamp everything. The facility has to be changed. The machines have to be changed. But if you plan for flexible production unit, okay, so if for example, if one particular drug is being produced at a particular number, okay, for a month or for a week, so suddenly a demand for some other product from your company has come now, or it is increasing. So what you can do, you can basically change the setup to produce the other drug. Okay, so if you see the Serum Institute of India, they are producing different injections or vials. So it is fairly flexible. You can give them the formula which you want, and you can tell them what quantity you require, and they'll tell you, okay, based on whatever compounds or whatever chemicals you are using, okay, they'll tell you what is the price of production based on the capacity that you want, okay, or the quantity that you want. So this is where they are making a lot of money because we never know a particular disease will come or no. Like if you see polio, they are using polio every 6 months or a year. Polio drops are there. Okay, now the population is growing. So if you set up a factory which only polio drop, it makes only polio drops. So there will be a time where the population is going down, or the population who takes this particular polio drops, the age of children, if they are growing and there are no new kids, okay, as per your requirement or as per your capacity, so there is waste of that capacity. Basically you are not able to use it, okay, because you will never produce in the full capacity or the optimum capacity if the requirement is less. Why? Because there will be some expiry date for any drug that is being produced, okay, so you cannot keep like it is only uh, once a year or twice a year maximum that this particular trial happens. So if the lifespan is more, like for 3 years or 5 years, well and good. Otherwise, if it is for 1.5 year, it is very difficult. You cannot produce in large. So if you produce in large, also you need to pay for it. So you need to manage both. Okay. So this is where is the impact of uncertainty on network design happens. Then this is very important, students. Focus here. So you might have not come through this particular things, that is discounted cash flow analysis. Okay, this is related to the further what do you call it, topics in the syllabus. Okay, so discounted cash flows. So in a company, if you see, you can check with your parents or your siblings if they are doing some commerce or so. So there are some things like balance sheet, cash flow, profit and loss accounts. So these are some of the things what the company is producing or making at the end of the year, or basically it could be monthly or half yearly. So these things are done. So these are the numbers which are shown in a particular pattern, like what is coming in, what is going out, how much of profit is there, what is the net profit, what is the gross profit, how much of tax I need to pay. All these things are being documented. So here, cash flow analysis. What is cash flow? So you need to understand. The name says cash flow. Cash is flowing. How much of cash is going out of your company? How much of cash is coming in the company? Okay, this is what is cash flow. So there is something called as cash flow statement. So for a certain period, so it could be a period of a month, period of a quarter, period of half year, or period of a year. So there is something called as cash flow. What they do? So everything, a small penny, a small dime also, or dime also is being documented. That is going out and coming in. So this is what is cash flow. We say as a person or as a business, there is something that you are selling. Okay, you are getting the money and you are using that money to buy the raw materials again, okay, and you are again selling it. So there is movement of money or movement of cash inward as well as outward from your company. This is called as cash flow. Remember this. So the word discounted is there. Discounted cash flow statement. So discounts, reduction in the price or reduction in the quantity, whatever. Discount is reduction basically. So reduction in the cash flow analysis. Just imagine reduction in the cash flow analysis. This is what, remember this. So we will see what is that. So the present value of a stream of cash flow is what the stream is worth in today's dollars. In the sense, whatever stream, in the sense it is going or coming, it's worth the same as of today. Okay, in today's dollar. So, but the same thing if you take in the future. Okay, so discounted cash flow, DCF. Okay, remember discounted cash flow, DCF analysis evaluates the present value of any stream of future cash flows. In the sense, if you evaluate, okay, the value of future cash flow. So what will be the cash flow in the next year? So this year at least I know, you know the previous years. But what will happen, or what changes will happen if I have the cash flows that is happening in the next year happens now? Okay. So you already might have known about this. The value of like 10 rupees, whatever the buying power of 10 rupees today will not be equal to or will not be same in the after 5 years. Okay, after 5 years, if you see whatever you are getting 10 rupees now, you may not be getting that particular product in the same quantity in the coming next 5 years. Okay, this is what we are saying. So this is what is inflation, what we call. But in this case, we are not taking inflation into consideration. But what we are taking into consideration is if I invest this particular amount today somewhere, okay, at a particular rate of interest, after 1 year or 2 years, 5 years, I'll be getting more than what I am getting today, right? So if I invest, if I am having 100 rupees at 5% rate of interest, if I put it in a bank, okay, the present FD rates are around 5 to 5.5. Take 5 and I am keeping 100 rupees. So after a year, instead of me getting 100 rupees, I am getting 105 rupees. So similarly, if I want to take something, okay, in future, so if I am taking it today only, so what will be the discounting that happens? Okay, that is what we are trying to find out here. So now you know if I put any amount somewhere or I invest some amount, so at a particular rate of interest it increases. So instead of putting it over there, so if I instead of getting 105 rupees later, if I get it today, so how much of discounting to be done? So should I remove that 5 rupees on top because I'm not getting it after 1 year, I'm getting it today only. So that is what is this discounted cash flow analysis tells us. Discounted cash flow analysis evaluates the present value of any stream of future cash flows. Future. So whatever cash flows are happening in will be happening in future. If you bring it today, so same thing is happening today. If you think, okay, what kind of discounting you need to do? Okay, that is what we are looking at. Okay, future cash flows and allows management to compare both streams of cash flows in terms of their financial value. Okay, is it possible for me? Okay, is it possible for me to do that cash flow today instead of future, or is it beneficial for me to do it in future? Whatever I was doing today should be done in future. So you could be like thinking, sir, what are you telling? Where it is being used? Okay, like for example, I'll give you distribution center. Okay, you need a distribution center, right? You're storing your product somewhere, like take a godown. Okay, take a godown as an example. You need space, so there will be certain calculations done. So if your production capacity is so much, so you need to have those particular produced items have to be kept somewhere or have to be stored somewhere, right? So for that, a particular place is required. So if you're owning it, well and good. Otherwise, if you are leasing it or if you are taking it on rent, okay, what will be the price? Like, should I pay yearly? Because on year to year basis, the cost increases. So those who are staying in a particular rented house will be knowing. So every year the landlord comes and says, okay, I am increasing by so much. I am increasing your rent by so much. So every year it is increasing. Okay, it could be by 200, 300, 500, 800 or 1000, whatever. So every year a particular rent is increased. So or should I make a deal? Okay, stating that okay, I'll be here for 3 years. We'll make a deal. So after 3 years, okay, giving 500. Let's take 500 rupees increased every year. So 3 years it becomes 1500 rupees. So instead of increasing and giving you a breakup every month, what I'll do is I'll give you in bulk. Okay, 3 years worth of present value. Okay, I'll present value. Like for example, take 1000 is the uh, rent for per month for this particular year. So if you see for 12 months, it is 12,000 rupees. So similarly, if it is increasing by 50% in the next year, so instead of 1000, it is 1500 rupees per month. Okay, so if you calculate how much it is, 15,000 into 12. So 15,000 into 12 will come to, sorry, 1500 into 12. 1500 into 12 is 18,000. Instead of 12,000, you are paying now 18,000. So in the next year, again, it is increasing by 50%. So it is increasing by 750 and not 500. Okay, similarly, So if that is okay for me, or if I'll have a deal with him stating that okay, in the present rate only, okay, of 1000 rupees I'll be paying you today for next 3 years. Okay, next 3 years I'll be paying, in the sense 12 to the 12 3 is 36,000 rupees I'll pay you today now. Okay, and for 3 years this particular thing, this particular area is mine. Okay, I am renting that place for next 3 years. So which is beneficial for me? I need to check whether having 3 years of lease today only, or taking into consideration okay, my product might the demand of my product might increase or decrease. Based on that, my production increases or decreases. Should I go every year? Okay, should I rent the same place every year, or as in general every month should I pay? Okay, this is where you are looking at. Okay, so if you pay this particular amount of 36,000 today, what will be the value if you had to pay it in breakups of monthly or yearly? So this is what is this particular analysis being done. So just based on a warehouse or a godown, I gave you an example. So where cash flows could be different in different years, but we are combining it for today. So what happens if I had kept this particular amount in a bank with a particular rate of interest? Okay. So instead of me getting that much later, I'm getting it today. So what will be the discounting that has to be done? Okay, that is what is discounted cash flow analysis. I hope you have understood this. Okay. If not, just let me know. I'll try to explain in a better way. So basically what I want to know is there any discounting, or how much should I discount if I have a cash flow that is happening today, or if I'm combining a cash flow from future? It could be next month, next year, or next 5 years, or next quarter. We never know. So we are accumulating those particular cash flows. Okay, that is, so remember this term, discounted cash flow. Okay, DCF analysis is based on the fundamental premise that a dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow. That means I am investing it somewhere. So today, if $1 is there, tomorrow it could be $1.0001. Okay, the interest is added for one particular day over there. So because a dollar today may be invested and earn a return in addition to the dollar invested. That is what I just explained you. So if I invested today, a certain rate of interest will be there, which will be added in future. It could be a week, it could be a month, or it could be a year, basically. Okay, this is what is DCF tells you. Now, the present value of future cash flow. So, future cash flow, if I am taking it presently, what happens is found by using a discount factor. So, a discount factor we can multiply to the present value, and we will get to know like the future what it will be, the value if you are bringing it, the amount, the cash flow, what you are having in future if you bring it today. So, with what factor I need to multiply it so that I'll get the present worth of future value. Okay, if a dollar today can be invested and earn a rate of interest k, small k, over the next period. So it is depending upon you what the period is. I just gave example. It will be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 quarter, half yearly, or a yearly. The period could be anything. Okay, an investment of $1 today will result in 1 plus k dollars in the next period. Okay, for a period I'm giving. Okay, like per month if it is there. Okay, 1000 rupees I'm giving, and 5% rate of return per month means next month I need to pay 105 rupees. Okay, that k factor if I add, okay, I am getting 5 rupees extra for 100 rupees. So it becomes 100 plus 5, that is equal to 105. Okay, then next one, an investor will therefore be indifferent between obtaining $1 in the next period, or 1 divided by 1 plus k dollars in the current period. In the sense, the discounting factor, if you see here, it is given discount factor is equal to 1 upon 1 plus k, where k is the addition or the percentage of interest that you are getting. So that is what we need to do. So this is $1 in the next period is discounted by discounted factor is equal to, or discount factor is equal to 1 upon 1 plus k. So if it is 100 rupees, you had to be getting, after a year it becomes 105. So I need to multiply 1 upon 1 plus k, whatever the value it comes. So 5% if I keep it here, it becomes 1 upon 1 plus 5 is equal to 1 by 6. So I need to multiply this number 1 by 6 with that 105 rupees. So that is the worth of the future cash flow today for the future's worth. So that is what is given here, discount factor 1 upon 1 plus k. Then the rate of return k is also referred to as the discount rate. Okay, here instead of interest rate, okay, if somebody is paying interest, we are calling it as a discount rate. So that is why it is discounted cash flow. So K is also referred to as discount rate, hurdle rate. In many places you might have heard this, okay, or you may not have heard presently, but in share market or stock market, okay, or in other quantities where present and future happens, like cash flow, they are taking into consideration. There, different things are, the same thing is called in different names. That is discount rate, hurdle rate, opportunity cost of capital. So these all are the same. The rate is the same. Okay, then given a stream of cash flows. So just take, for today it is C0 cash flow, C0, C1, and so on to CT over the next T periods. So this period, as I have already told you, it is depending upon you. It could be a day, it could be a week, it could be a month, or it could be a year. Okay, take for general terminology, take a year. So presently C0 means present year, C1 next year, C2 next year. So it is going on till T number of years. So over the T periods, and a rate of return K. Okay, the next present value, net present value equal NPV, net present value. Okay, of this cash flow stream is given by net present value is equal to today's amount. So there will be no change in today's amount, right? So today's amount, that is C0, plus summation of all the cash flows, okay, where t is equal to 1 to r, 1 upon 1 plus k. You know what is k? K is hurdle rate or discount rate or the opportunity cost of capital. So in our case we are using as discount rate. So it is 1 upon 1 plus k raised to t into the last cost, that is ct, cost of or the cash flow at the end of teeth year. Okay, we have taken it as year, right? So teeth year I need to multiply. So this is C naught present value plus summation of all the values of 1 upon 1 plus k, where k is the discount rate, raised to t, that is the number of years that you are going ahead, into the cash flow or the cash of that particular year, teeth year. So this gives you the net present value. This is just for your knowledge. We are not solving any sums. So the present value and future value, usually in finance we calculate this, the future value of the money and the present value of the money. Okay, so present value, if you take something that is from future today, that is the present value of money. So what happens to the money in future? This is future value of money. So like I'll give you an example for this. Like there will be two deals that would be given to you. Give 30,000 today, after 5 years you will be getting 60,000. It is doubling after 5 years. One person is giving you this particular deal. And there is one more deal. It says every month you give me 100 rupees for next 20 years. Okay, or for the same duration I'll take for 5 years, give me 1,000 rupees instead of 100, give me 1,000 rupees every month for next 5 years. Okay, and at the end of 5 years, instead of uh, not instead, I'll give you some amount like 50,000 rupees. I'll give you. So give me 1,000 per month for 5 years, and you will be getting 50,000 rupees at the end of fifth year. So now you decide. So today, one first deal is 30,000 today, and you are getting 60,000 after 5 years. And there is one more deal which will tell you, which tells you that give me 1,000 rupees every month for next 5 years, and you are getting a sum of 50,000 after 5 years. So which one to choose? Okay, in this particular case, we are using this present value of money and future value of money to basically find out which is more beneficial, whether to give 30,000 today or give thousand rupees every month for next 5 years. Okay, this I'll not solve because this is a whole new different genre to go. So here, just as a net present value or the future value or the present value, I'm just giving you example. In this case, we are looking at the present value of future money. Remember the present value of future cash flows. So for that, we need to have discounting. So this particular topic is discounted cash flows, DCF. Okay, next coming to binomial representation of uncertainty. Binomial representation of uncertainty. So what is this? Binomial representation in the sense, the binomial representation of uncertainty is based on the assumption that when moving from one period to the next, the value of the underlying factor, such as the demand or price, has only two possibilities or two outcomes, whether it goes up or down. Okay, so here they are giving you underlying factor as example as demand or price. It is having only two directions, that is whether it can go up or it can go down. So these are the only two possibilities. Then in the commonly used multiplicative binomial, it is assumed that the underlying factor either moves up by a factor u greater than 1. Okay, remember, if it is increasing, it will be u greater than 1 with probability p. Probability it is means the chances of happening. Okay, I need not explain much. Probability means the chances of happening. So that's why we say what is the probability of this particular thing. Okay, like for example, what is the probability of you getting a FCD in your examination? That means what is the chances of you getting FCD in your final examinations? So here, what we are saying, the factor u which is greater than 1, we are multiplying something which is greater than 1, which makes it go up. And what is the probability of this happening? Or second one, or down by a factor d which is less than 1. So if you multiply anything with less than 1, okay, it reduces that amount or reduces that number basically. So for example, 100 into 2 will give you 200, but 100 into 0.5 will give you 50. So the number that is less than 1 will always reduce the number. The factor that is multiplied is more than 1, it increases the number. Okay, or again here it is given, I'll just read it. In the commonly used multiplicative binomial, it is assumed that the underlying factor either moves up by a factor that is u greater than 1. Remember, u is greater than 1 with probability p, and down by a factor d which is less than 1. D is less than 1, u is greater than 1 with a probability 1 minus p. So those of you who have studied probability or know about it, you will be knowing the maximum probability is 1 and the minimum probability is 0. Okay. So when we say chances of happening, the probability of happening is something, some value of 0.6. If you take 0.6 as a probability of happening. Okay. So what will be the probability of not happening? Probability of not happening will be 1 minus p, because maximum is 1, right? The probability if is happening is 0.6. Probability of not happening will be 0.4. When you add both, it should be 1. Okay, so you can convert it into percentage also by multiplying it with 100. So if you multiply the probability like 0.6 into 100, it becomes 60%. 0.6 into 100, no, 0.6 into 10 basically. 0.6 into 100, yeah, 0.6 into 100, 60%. So 60% probability and of chances of happening, and 40% of chances of not happening. So this is 100%, total of 100%. So here, if you take it in general, probability is maximum of 1 and minimum of 0. When you multiply this with 100, you are getting it in percentages. So probability of happening, if it is a certain number, if you do it, or if you minus 1 from it, or 1 minus the probability of happening will give you probability of not happening. So here u is increasing, it is greater by 1, and the probability of happening is p. And the other factor, if you see D, which is it is less than 1, and the probability of that is 1 minus P. Okay, remember this. Then, so if you see here, present condition, so this is X and Y. I'll just remove this X and Y. If you see, here it is time and here it is probability, this side. It is probability on Y axis and here it is time T. So what is happening? So if you see here, what is happening? So present condition, I'm in P. Okay, I'm in P. So what happens? Only two chances. It will go up, PU, or it will go down, PD. PU in the sense present value into the value that is more than 1 is PU. Okay, then the present value multiplied by a value which is less than 1. So it is decreasing. Only two things that can happen here is one, it can increase or decrease. So this I am giving you 0. P is period of 0, and the next one, that is PU and PD here, this is period 1, and the next will go to period 2. This is period 3, this is period 4, and this is period 5. So period could be anything I told you, which could vary from per day to per year, or even it goes up to century or a decade also, decade or a century also. So time period is taken by you. So in the present condition, it is at a particular number. So if it is increasing, it will become PU. If it is decreasing, it will become PD. So again, we will be having two things. Okay, where PU is there, again it could increase or again it could decrease. So PU, if it is increasing, PU into U will give you PU square. Okay, we are talking about multiplicative binomial tree. Okay, so we are multiplying everything. So first it was P, then for increasing it became PU. So further increasing it becomes PU square. If it is decreasing, what happens? It becomes PUD. PU is this particular value and it is decreasing now. So it is PUD. So similarly for the second one, for PD here it becomes, if it is increasing after decreasing, it becomes PUD, and if it decreases again, it becomes PD square, because PD into D will give you PD square. Again for that value, again we are having two variants where it is increasing and decreasing. So PU square, if it is increasing again, it gives you PU cube. Okay, and if it is decreasing, it gives you PU square into D, that is PU square D. Okay, then if it is PUD, if it has increased once and decreased again, it gives you PUD here. So after PUD, again two chances. What? PU square D or PUD square. If it is decreased twice and it is increasing now, it gives you PUD square. Or if it is decreasing thrice, it gives you PD cube. So similarly, it goes on increasing. Okay, this is multiplicative binomial tree. So we are getting tree. These are the chances. Okay, what could happen? So different options I'm telling you. So these are the different options that could happen in a business after certain period. So what are the chances? Like here, like period is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So after, like when you are reaching the fifth period, just imagine how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Possibility of happening of six different things are there. Okay, based on what is happening. So what we need to do? So at the end of the time t that you are taking, so you need to first start from that end. At the end, then you are trying to find out which is the optimum here. Then go back, find the optimum. Go back, find the optimum. Go back, find the optimum. Okay, so this is where is the illustration where it is giving you how different chances are there. So chances of going up, chances of going down with the probability p, and chances of going down is 1 minus p. Okay, so this is how this particular thing is happening. So just remember this, we are using it in the term where, or the topic where we are using making different decisions using decision tree. So this is the basis of it. So you know present number, it will increase or it will decrease. So if you take increasing, again two chances, it will further increase or further decrease. Okay, so here in the first period, if you see it is decreased, again two values, it will increase from here or it will decrease from here. Okay, similarly it goes on becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. As more periods you take, your chances of happening are increasing by twofold. So here it was 1, it became 2. From here 2, it became 3. From 3, it became 4. From 4, it became 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From 5, it became 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So slowly it is going on increasing. Okay, so for every value I am having 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, but those two will be at a place it is like is same. So here, if you increase twice and decrease once, it is pu square d. But similarly, if you increase once, decrease once, and again increase, it is pu square d again. So I'm getting the same value if it is increasing, decreasing, and increasing, or increasing, increasing, and decreasing. So I'm ending at the same place. So we need to check all these things and we need to find a optimum value here in every period and go backwards. Okay, go backwards. So presently I am here, I am taking a decision whether it is increasing or decreasing. So going on making it optimum, optimum, optimum in each period, I'll be getting a optimum value for today. Okay, here probability it is there. Probability of happening of this is less. Probability of this is more than the previous one. Probability of happening this is greater. Okay, these two are maximum. Then it goes on decreasing. So if you see here, small, increase, increase, remains same, then decrease and decrease. The probability of these two happening is very high. Okay, so any combination go up and down, up and down, up and down. So coming and reaching at this place, these two places is will be optimum or will be having a maximum probability of happening. Okay, so with respect to time, here it is C, and here it is period 1, period 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is multiplicative binomial tree. So here that is what they have given. Given a price P in period 0, the possible outcomes in future periods are as follows. For period 1, will be PU and PD. If you see here, PU and PD for period 1. And for period 2, it is PU square, PUD and PD square. So if you go back here, PU square, PUD and PD square. So similarly, for period 3 and period 4, it goes on increasing. So that is what is given to you here. So next, if you see, so we saw the multiplicative binomial model. So if you see additional or additive binomial model, it is assumed that underlying factors increases by u in a given period with probability p and decreases by d with probability 1 minus p. So increases by p, sorry u, and decreases by p again. Okay, the following states in a given period, again for first period it will be p, for p period 0 it will be p, for period 1 it will be p plus u and p minus d. Okay, because it is increasing by u and decreasing by d, p plus u and p minus d. So similarly for second it will be p plus 2u and p plus u minus d or p minus 2d. So similarly, if you draw that graph, I have not drawn it here. So if you have drawn this particular thing, instead of pu, it will be p plus u. This will be p minus d. So here, if you go again, it is p plus 2u. It is p plus u minus d. In this case, it is p minus d plus u or p minus d square, or sorry 2d, p minus 2d. So similarly you can go ahead with the next period. So that is what we are getting. In terms of multiplicative, it will be p, pd, pd square, pu, pd square u, something like this. It goes on with the various probability. Okay, similarly for addition, it will be going on adding or subtracting, or adding sometimes and subtracting sometimes. So that is what we are getting here. Then comes evaluating network decision, network design decisions under decision trees. Okay, so here we'll be having this like looking at this particular slide, and we'll be stopping here. Okay, because some other works are there after this for me, so which are basically overlapping. So I cannot continue. So we'll finish this particular slide and we'll finish for today, or we'll stop for today, and we'll continue in the next class. Okay, evaluating network design decisions under decision tree. What is this? So I just told you, remember the decision tree. We are coming to the evaluating the network using decision trees now. So a manager makes several different decisions while or when designing a supply chain network. Just a minute. A manager makes several different decisions when designing a supply chain network. So you saw what various different decisions he should be taking, like taking into consideration whether it will increase or decrease, whether it will first increase then decrease. We never know. So he is in a dilemma now. A manager is basically in a dilemma when he is basically designing a supply chain. Whether it will increase or decrease, we never know. But in general, we take into consideration that it is increasing at a steady rate. Okay, the rate would be small. Okay, but we assume that it is increasing. Okay, in general terms. But here we'll see what happens if we use decision trees. So, for instance, what are the questions that he is facing? Should the firm sign a long-term contract for warehousing space or get space from the spot market as needed? So here, long term in the sense I gave you like 3 years or 5 years. Should we make a deal for today, or the spot price what it will be like every year? So this year it is 1,000. Next year it will be 1,100 per square feet, for example. Okay. So should I make this particular deal for 1,000 rupees for coming few years, or should I go for a spot price? So I don't know whether it is increasing or decreasing. Should I increase my place or decrease my place? I don't know. So I'll just go for this present year's lease, or should I go for next few years? So spot prices again, the increased price after an year. It could be like 1,000 if you take per square feet. It could become 1,100 or 1,050 in the next year. So should I do that? Should I have like a long-term deal or a short-term deal for a year or a particular period of time? Then what should the firm's mix of long term and spot market be in the portfolio of transportation capacity? Okay, long term, whether it is increasing or decreasing, so which could help me get better? Okay, which could help me save more money? Okay, so because that's why we saw the future cash flows and the present cash flows. Okay, PV factor we call usually present value factor and future value factor. So whether it is increasing or decreasing. So I gave you two examples earlier. So if I pay at once today, or if I am paying monthly, so in which I am getting more benefit. Okay, so that is what is there here now. So long term, a fixed amount, or a spot market every year. Okay, so how much capacity should various facilities have? Okay, so if you are coming up with multiple facilities, how much capacities it should have? So it should increase or decrease, or how it should go about, and what fraction of this capacity should be flexible? So the whole capacity is excuse me, the whole capacity, whether it is rigid or the whole capacity should be flexible, or a certain part of the capacity should be flexible. Even I gave you what I mean by flexible. So if I am producing a certain product, if I want to change it tomorrow, so am I having that particular capacity of changing now with the present capacity or the present condition? I need not buy many new machines, or I should not buy new space. Okay, so in the same space with the same amount of machines or raw materials whatever I'm having, with how can I change it to different product? Okay, the raw material may be different in some cases, but the present capacity and the present setup. Okay, so change small things that could be changed over there. Okay, and will I have a different product capacity, capability of doing it or not? That is what is flexible. So these are some of the questions that are in the minds of the manager while setting up a warehouse or a factory, or it could be anything for that matter. Okay, so here a factory was given, some leasing, renting kind of thing is there. So whether he has to do it for a longer period of time or every year or period basis. Then whether the transportation, so if the number of products increases, the transportation should also increase, right? If it decreases, it should also decrease. So should we go for hiring, or should we buy those many trucks? Okay, trucks, for example, I'm giving you, or whatever method he is using. Okay, should he buy, or he should lease, or he should rent? Again, the term, whether it is beneficial for a longer period of time or no, that comes into picture. Sometimes it so happens that for 10 years if you are doing it, so it would be barely profitable if you buy that particular truck. okay, instead of leasing everything for a longer period of time. So we need to calculate based on the present interest rates, okay, present market rates and all. Okay, so these things are very much important. Like if you remember, like 2 to 3 years back, the FD rates were around 7.5 up to 8. But after this pandemic and all, the rate of interest that the banks are giving to you for FDs has come down to 5 to 5.5%. So if you are taken into consideration 7 or 8%, it would be completely different thing than considering only 5 or 5.5%. Okay, so these particular things will give you a lot of changes. Okay, a lot of decision changes or a lot of decision variables need to be taken care before coming up with all these things. Okay, so this is where we are having a different setup, and these particular decisions to be taken will be helped by the decision tree. Okay, so we'll stop for today. Then we'll continue in the next coming classes. I hope today's class you remember, or it is you're not having basically any doubts. If you are having, uh, please write it down and you can ask me in the next class. As I am running out of time for today, so I'll be not be able to explain you or tell you about the doubts. If you are having any doubts, please note it down somewhere. In the next class, that is day after tomorrow, you can ask me those doubts and I'll be clearing you particular doubts. So similarly, if you are having any doubts in the previous third module, in the part that I have dealt with, if you are having any doubt, you can ask me. Plus, in the present class, if you are having any doubts, note it down and ask me in the next class. Okay, students, we will stop for today and meet again in the next class.